Kip Jervis here. It's great to have in the studio today, young man Brooks Kidd, and we're just excited to have Brooks in here today. And Brooks, you went on a magical ride, and I think you're just beginning. So most people around here know who Brooks Kidd is, but such a rich musical heritage. And I wanted to tell you, when you came into this neighborhood here, you're at home here, buddy.
Yeah.
Your great grandparents and your great grandmother used to take me to school once in a while. I'd drive with your great uncle Hank.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so we kind of ran the show around here. We had a lot of neighborhood friends and stuff, and so when you come here, you're at home, okay?
Well, thank you.
And I don't know if do you ever listen to any Cat Stevens music?
I don't.
She had an 8-track, and it was Hank's, but she had an 8-track of Cat Stevens. So go back. That might be a little family nostalgia for you there, and research your Cat Stevens. But now let's talk about some of your musical influences. I know, you mentioned Kings of Leon in that song, and I said I got to wear this shirt for him. But I'm a huge fan of them. But I can hear when I'm listening to your stuff, man. I can hear a little Motown in there.
Okay.
Some of the cinematic stuff I'm hearing. A Coldplay influence in there a little bit, and just tell us who John Mayer. Who do you? I mean, where does this come from? Where's this coming from? Who's what kind of stuff do you listen to?
Absolutely, that's so cool, and thank you for wearing the Kings of Leon shirt. That's awesome. Looks great. As some people know, I got my start in musical theater, and so a lot of the more cinematic, more dramatic parts of it come from how I was raised in that style, and so that sort of carries over into my personal style. But specifically for the music that I'm releasing, we tried to go into British pop and look into people like the 1975 and Sam Fender and people like that who are across the pond, and we like to incorporate some of that style because that's something that really inspires me and is drawn to me is the kind of way that they produce over there and the way that they sing.
Yeah, so is that so? You went across the pond to find those influences, and how did you zero in on that and bring that back here to do what you did in the studio? Because it's studio magic. I mean, everybody, your guys killed it, man. And so tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So a big thing that we did was I worked with Brennan Aerts, who produced all of the songs on the album, and he and I have a very similar music taste, so he already was exposed to a lot of these things.
Where's he from?
He is from Nashville, Tennessee, is where he's based out of, and he loves the 1975, he loves Sam Fender, all these people that we're both inspired by, and so all I had to do is like, hey man, let's produce like these guys, like figure out what they did, and let's incorporate it into our stuff.
Good, yeah. So now, what made you you went on the American Idol journey? But what was the catalyst for that? I mean, what made you decide, hey, this is what I want to do? Had you tried it before, or tell us a little bit about that whole journey?
Yeah, man,
my mom went with you on that journey too.
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
Your mom's a singer.
She is.
Yeah, she used to sing down our church, and a really good singer. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about Dad? Dad's here with you over there.
He's alright. He's okay. He does his best. He's good though.
So let's that was a wild ride, but we can't interview Brooks Kidd without talking about American Idol.
Absolutely. So one of my friends was also going on it, and he decided that he was going to audition, and I was like, I don't know if I want to. I'm just back and forth between what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so he eventually was like, you just got to shoot your shot and do it. And I had never really thought about solo music at that time. And we got on this Zoom call because after COVID, everything went virtual. And so everything's online through Zoom.
Yeah.
And I got on the Zoom call and did it. And they said, this is awesome. We're going to the executive producer. I was like, oh, right now. Okay, awesome. So just before I knew it, I was in front of the head producer of American Idol. And I sang for her and she loved it. And
wow.
The rest is history.
Wow, that's neat. And that was during COVID. So to put this in perspective, Brooks, you were a young tot at that time.
I was. I was going into. It was the summer of me going into my freshman year of college. So it was almost 4 years ago when I auditioned.
Well, let's talk about your college journey because you're graduating now, right?
I am.
Yeah,
I
thought I saw
graduated
that.
a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah, all right. And you went to the school at Eastern for music, is that?
Hmm?
Yeah, all right. Now, what did you, little idiosyncrasies that you pick up on that you weren't aware of? I mean, you learned tons of stuff about music, obviously, but, from like the music theory part and all that goes into, and I'm asking you this question for all these guys out there kicking around going, I don't need that stuff. I'm tough, man. I'm a great guitar slinger. I can, you know,
Yeah.
thrash with the best of them. But those are things that play into all of it, and you broaden your scope so much. Expound on that, brother.
Sure. So I got my education in music industry, and so I got to do everything from music theory to music history to music appreciation to what the music industry actually is, like getting into copyright law and stuff like that, which is what I'm interested in. But
People
having
have no idea, do they? They have no idea what all goes on.
oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so much. But the good thing that it does do, as opposed to just going into music raw, is that you have an understanding of why chords work a certain way and how to maneuver them in a way that sounds a certain way to the ear. So if you want it to sound, give it a certain emotion, you learn how to manufacture that
Okay.
through just different tones and keys, and it's all really heady, but it definitely gives you an understanding and a know-how. It expands your toolbox.
Right. So, folks can find your music at brookskid.com. That's with two D's. All right.
Yes.
I definitely wanted to, but the name of the album, Juxtaposition, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did that come from?
So whenever I was in high school, this was even before American Idol, before anything happened, I wanted to produce music on my own, and so I got this crappy keyboard and a crappy mic, and I just wrote a full 10-track album. And that album was called Juxtaposition. And I was like, whenever I release my first album, it has to be called that. And it was just a word that had always resonated with me. I like big words that I don't fully understand, and I'm gonna be a lawyer, so I guess I gotta get used to it. But it's just, yeah, it just always spoke to me.
So music industry. Now you say you're going to be a lawyer, which I did not know. You sprung that on me right then. But,
Right.
But so music industry lawyer.
Yes, so I will be in the fall attending Salmon P. Chase College of Law at Northern Kentucky University, where I'll be pursuing a 3-year Juris Doctor degree in law.
You might just bypass all that, man. If we get a #1 song out of you and stuff, you
Hey, you might just have to. Might just. But yeah.
get real busy. But I can tell you're a very smart young man, and that's a good plan right there.
It is.
Yeah, it's definitely, that keeps you in touch with the music, and you won't starve to death along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can be a wild ride that way.
Yeah.
So now we've talked a little bit about your musical inspirations, but you said when you cut the album, all those songs you wrote, right? Those are all original songs. Is that?
They are. So there's 7 tracks on the album. 2 of them, I had a very small hand in writing. They were already pretty much pre-written.
Okay.
But everything was a collaborative effort between me, Scott Lynch, and Billy Ertz, who,
Okay.
and Billy Ertz is Brennan Ertz's dad,
Yeah.
my producer. And they were
What's
just
the new
fantastic
saying?
to work
What's the
with.
saying in Nashville? Say a word, get a third. Or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. But so you worked with those guys, and some of these songs you just wrote on your own. They just came to Brooks, and Brooks did that.
So our writing process usually starts with me having an idea of a melody or an idea for the lyrics of a song.
Which comes first? That's an interesting thing. I'm sure you've studied Elton John, Bernie Taupin, how that
Yeah.
worked. What comes first usually?
For me, I'm very much music oriented, and
Mhm.
it comes through.
So you'll hear a melody.
Yeah,
in your head.
or I'll sing a line and just have a riff on something, and that ends up being like the hook of the chorus, or just chords on a piano, because I also play the keys, so I'm used to that. Lyrics are always the toughest thing for me, because it's hard for me to feel the ability to be vulnerable in a song, and so right now I'm working on that though, and I've got some brand new music that
Great.
I'm very excited for.
So now, do you get this inspiration just randomly? But what happens to the random thoughts you get in the middle of the night? They're awesome ideas, you think, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but you don't get up and write them down.
Right.
and they're gone the next day.
Absolutely.
Expound on that a little bit.
Listen, that
I
happens
think
like every day.
creative person in the world has that happen to them.
It happens most of the time. Like there's so many songs that won't come out because I just can't remember what I wrote that were fantastic.
Yeah. But you'll get yourself in a habit as you go along because you're so good at it that you'll get yourself in a habit where you'll either jot a note down in your phone or make yourself a voice because but I figured that creative people like you, they say you hit on about 50% of it. Some of it's gone forever, stuff.
Definitely my strategy is I can sort of feel it come on whenever like I've got an idea of something or something's about to happen. And so I'll go ahead and press, voice memos on my phone and start recording.
Yeah.
And then if it's a 15-minute memo, then it's a 15-minute memo.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when Elvis left the building, tell us about that song.
Yeah. So when Elvis left the building.
Catchy title.
Yeah. It was my first original. It released in 2022.
Yeah.
And it was a long time ago. We recorded that in Blackbird Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, which is where anybody has recorded there, and it's just so special to record that. And that one was written by Billy Aerts, Scott Lynch, and Eddie Eberle, and then I was able to help bring that song to life. And so
that's a neat little. It's a catchy title too. When Elvis left the building, you want that. Those are the songs you. Well, that sounds interesting, but it's really good stuff. So, the name of your band, McCain, is that like a family name? Tell us about that. Where did that come from?
So I have a live band that I perform with called McCain, and McCain is my middle name. And so
okay, I thought it might be. Yeah. And Brooks is your family name.
It is. I've got 3 last names, is what I like to say.
And let me just say this about your great grandparents, man. They were great people.
They were.
They're good. They were just good people. I remember them so well from my childhood. But well, now we've talked about your website, everything you got going on, upcoming things. What can we expect from? And I want you to expound on shows, but not only that, but recording projects, and what can we expect from Brooks Kid? I mean, you're gonna have a lot of women chasing you, brother, too.
Hey, that's a good thing. That ain't bad.
He ain't running from that.
Yeah. So the next thing that I'll have is the live shows. I just released the album, and so now I'm gonna want to do the whole thing live. I've been performing around Laurel County and London for a while, and I've got a couple shows coming up. Tomorrow I'll be at Local Honey in London, Kentucky.
Okay.
And next week I will be in Somerset, and I'll be just all over the place this summer.
Do you do your booking, or I think Dad's here? Does Mom and Dad help with all that, or how do you do that?
Actually, I do most of my booking, but our family has sort of like a tight-knit community where we're able to help each other. And but
cousin Greg, he's
cousin
a good
Greg.
guy. Yeah, good guy there too.
Greg helps out with the website, and I like to call him my creative director. He comes up with a lot of good
That's
ideas.
That's a good name for it. I've heard him called worse.
But the biggest thing for me right now is going to be live shows, touring across Kentucky, and we've got some big festival shows. We're going to be at the Chicken Festival this fall, headlining on right before the headliner on Saturday night, and we're really excited for that. Recording opportunities that you might be able to hear. I'm working on a couple things right now. Like I said, I've just written a few songs. I've got a new song I'm really excited about called Find Me at Dawn. I've been performing it live, so if you want to hear it, you can come to the live show.
Okay.
I just wrote another one yesterday that I'm absolutely stoked about, but more on that very soon. Not quite yet, but I'm also thinking about maybe an acoustic version of the record that might be in the works.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas for how I might release that, and so that would be probably the next thing on the docket.
That's neat, man. That's great. You got a lot of great plans, man. So everything you're doing, we're proud of you. London's proud of you. It's happening at a good, needed time here, and of course these people have been devastated by these tornadoes and stuff. It's
Absolutely.
so sad. But people need good stuff, and they need to pick me up, and Brooks Kid is providing that for our town right now. But here's the thing, Brooks, you've got a sound. I'm a music guy, have been all my life, love it. You've got a sound all your own. You don't, you sound, you can hear influences is derivative, but you're ahead of the game, young man, with your age and that going for you, because a lot of people are still trying to find their own identity and their own, but you've got it. I mean, you've got that part behind you. That's in the rear view. You're firmly established. You sound like you, and
Awesome.
I'm super impressed. I'm not. I'm impressed, but I'm excited because
Yeah.
I know your family, so that makes it even more special.
And that's so reassuring to hear. That's been my biggest goal as an artist, is to have a firm foundation in that, because that was always my biggest struggle growing up. Is there's so many directions, where do I go? But I do feel like I've landed, so that's awesome.
Yeah. It's very. It's you got your own unique sound, and that's that's what everybody should aspire for. So Brooks, I'm gonna let Bobby cut us off the camera here in a minute, but Brooks, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
You.
man.
Okay, buddy, appreciate you.
Thank you.